Hi, my name is Alvin Angel. Thanks for watching another episode of APTV. Today I got Mark Cochrane-Holley, who is a director of Invest Melbourne, which is a department in the city of Melbourne. Invest Melbourne's sole purpose is to help small businesses and big businesses come into the city and seamlessly and easy and do business here. It's a great service that is not that widely known, which our business uses a lot to help bring more businesses in the city and get their permits and planning, etc., in the quickest, seamless, and most logical way. It's a great service and a great gentleman running it, obviously. So it's good to hear what you have to say about your department and the city. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Zelman. Thanks for the opportunity.
Mark, what do you do for the city of Melbourne? How does your department work?
So I'm the director of Invest Melbourne.
Yeah.
Invest Melbourne is the city's investment promotion agency, which is a really fancy way of saying that we attract and support businesses to start up in the city. Everything from small businesses through our business concierge team, which I know I've worked with you on a number of occasions, Zelman, through to foreign domestic reinvestment and foreign direct investment. So that's the team that works really closely with Invest Victoria to attract businesses and help them set up. So the roles that we play range from finding locations for businesses. So if you're a restaurant or a retail outlet, we can find empty shop fronts for you, and again, we've worked with you on that regard. We can do market entry cases for foreign companies, international companies. We can pull together a whole lot of data around the city and the market, the sectors that they work in, the market for that sector, competitors, collaborators, a whole range of things like that. Again, we can do location searches. We introduce businesses to other parts of the industry and government. We support businesses through all the regulatory processes that they need to go through to start up in the city.
So permits, licenses,
all of those types of processes and procedures that the city has carriage of, will support you through that. And in doing so, for a small business, we can effectively halve the time that it takes a small business to open up.
When you say support, what exactly do you mean by support?
We will handhold you through the process. So rather than applying for permits sequentially, we bundle them all up and help you to apply for them all at the one time. We engage or act as an advocate for businesses into different parts of our organisation, but equally for the organisation out to businesses. And then there's a huge time saving and cost saving in being able to do that.
And what does your organisation charge to small businesses?
Zero.
I know.
We're a free service.
I knew that.
I know you knew that, Zelman. No, we don't charge a fee. The benefit for the city is really having a vibrant economy.
You make it easy to deal with the city of Melbourne.
Well, that's
not many cities do that.
It's exactly what our remit is, to make the city of Melbourne the easiest place to start and run a business. So not only do we
which results in
a growing economy, more businesses coming. The city's economy is worth $115 billion at last count. We want that to accelerate. We want a vibrant city. We want a prosperous city. We want a fair and sustainable city.
Yeah.
How do you do that? You make it easy for businesses to come into the city and then operate. So not only do we help businesses start up, once they've opened their doors, we don't say, thanks very much, off you go. We actually maintain those relationships so that a business has an easy entry into our organisation, which is big and it's bureaucratic, but they've got an easy entry in to allow us to support them in any ways we can.
I mean, I'm a beneficiary of your business. We use your department, I should say. We use it a lot by introducing tenants and landlords, but one story is probably worth mentioning now is there was a global fashion retailer that leased a store on College Street. I introduced them to your team. Your team called them immediately to say, how can we help you? The individual rang me from overseas, I think it was from Singapore, and he's like, never in my life has a council returned my call, let alone rang me to say, how can I help you? And I think at the end you guys helped them with getting their permit for signage or shop front or something like this, and he was blown away by it.
Yeah.
And that sort of service and ease and just personal touch just takes that government fence around all these rules and regulations, which if you understand are easy to get around.
Yeah.
But who understands unless you work in the council?
Yeah. And look, a lot of regulations are there for a good reason. Health regulations are there so people don't get
Sure.
sick, and potentially die in worst case scenario. But as an organisation, we have made a commitment to make it as easy as possible to go through that process. A lot of people talk about cutting red tape. I don't like to talk about cutting red tape. I like to talk about smoothing red tape. Red tape, as I say, is often there for a legitimate purpose. And increasingly, we don't want to be a city or an organisation that says no. We want to be able to say yes. But if we have to say no, I'd rather it be no but. So you can't do this, but what about this as an option? Solution, finding solutions to issues and problems that businesses might have.
How long has your department been in business for?
So we were established in late 2021. So in COVID. The city released its economic development strategy in mid 2021. One of the actions was to establish Invest Melbourne and work purely on the 36 odd square kilometres in the central city. There's a bit of a gap in the market, you could say. The state government do a great job in supporting the state of Victoria, but they've got limited resources as well. So as different levels of government, we need to work together, and we work really closely together. We're working on some really exciting initiatives that are coming up. We play different roles. We have different levers to pull, so we just need to make sure we're all pulling them at the same time. We're all pulling them in the same direction.
And how does your department work in with the state? Because Invest Victoria also exists. So that's just a state version of what you guys do on the state version?
Effectively, yeah, that's right.
And you guys collaborate?
Absolutely. It's critical that we collaborate. As I said, the state have got a broader view of the entire, the state government, the Victorian government have got a broader view of the entire state. They've got some different priority sectors that we don't have. So agriculture is a priority sector for them. Defence is a priority sector for them. That's not for us. But equally, we're really invested in hospitality and retail because that brings the vibrancy to the streets. The vast majority of the city's economy is above the awning. So in the office towers, that's where all the big dollars are made. But you're not going to get city workers into the city if there's not some cool cafes, there's not some good restaurants to go for dinner after work, there's not some great retail options. So that symbiotic relationship between retail, hospitality and the rest of the economy is really important. That's where we play a really big role, as well as supporting some of those other sectors like life sciences, technology, professional services, the financial services, which are equally supported by the state. So, as I say, it's really important that we work closely with our colleagues in state, and I'm really pleased that that relationship is growing, and I'm looking forward to really bloom over coming years.
I've seen it firsthand. Whenever we lease a shop, we always put the landlord and tenant onto your department, and they just help with stuff that, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Or that's an easy way. Oh, you don't need to do that. And saves so much time, frustration, and costs, obviously, which allows business to keep moving. How long have you been working at the City of Melbourne for?
I've been around for a long time, 22 and a half years, as we sit here today.
And you've been here the whole 22 and a half years? Working at the City of Melbourne.
Correct.
In different departments, right?
Yeah. My very long career, I suppose, I've always worked in the city. So I've got a real passion for the city as a whole, but at the City of Melbourne, 22 and a half years. And I came from sort of a sport and recreation background. So I didn't come from an economic background, but then was sort of thrust into that role, I guess, during COVID. But my role in sport and recreation was very similar to my role these days. It was engaging with businesses rather than sports clubs, understanding what their needs were and what they needed from the city, and working to solutions. So it was very, very similar. It's relationship management. It's not rocket science, but it's being open to their ideas, their suggestions, and seeing how we can collaborate.
Talk about relationships. You have a reputation of being the nicest, most responsive, and best dressed guy in the City of Melbourne. What's your secret?
Because
you have a lot of competition in here.
I do. Look, we've got. Well, my entire team, I think, are nice guys, and look, I don't know that there's any secret. As I said, I like to listen to people, understand what their needs are, what their aspirations are, and seeing how we can support each other. If the city economy falls off a cliff, I'm going to be out of a job. So it's in my best interest.
Most of us will be out of a job.
Most of us will be out of a job. As I said before, it's $115 billion, which is at 22% of the state's economy. So if the city isn't flourishing, then the state isn't flourishing. So there's real importance in what we do. As far as best dressed, I'm not sure. I just feel comfortable, I guess. In
a suit and tie.
In a suit and tie.
So I've never seen you without a done-up tie, a suit, usually cufflinks as well, and sometimes in a fedora. What's the story behind a uniform?
I don't know. I just feel comfortable.
Have you ever tried a t-shirt?
I have. Most of my staff and probably quite a few of my colleagues think that I wear a suit and tie on weekends. I don't. I actually do wear.
You wear a suit on weekends, just no tie.
Yeah, that's right. No. I've got plenty of casual clothes.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm buying that.
And the hat. Look, my father grew up in a generation where he always wear a hat. I've got very pale skin, as you can probably see on the camera. So I've just always worn
It's great.
Hat. Yeah, I've got a range of hats as well. I've got more casual hats at home as well.
Fair enough. I'll give you a We Love Retail hat in a second.
Okay.
If you can change anything in the city of Melbourne, just one thing, what would that be?
Probably confidence in the city. I think, over COVID, there was a lot of lost confidence in the city, and it's coming back. The numbers of people that are coming into the city for, entertainment purposes is going gangbusters. So, weekends, evening traffic is really high. But I think there's still a little bit of lack of confidence in the city. So I think we're working to change that. The organisation as a whole is working to change that. We've got a relatively new Lord Mayor and Deputy Lord Mayor. We've got a new bunch of councillors that are really focused on that and bringing back the life to the city. And I think hand in hand with that is developing a strong business brand for the city. I don't know that the city nationally or perhaps internationally is seen as having a strong business brand. We do an enormous amount of business. As a $115 billion economy, we're doing a lot of things right. We need to sell that message better and broader. We need to sell it internationally.
So how has more confidence been created, and how do you continue creating more confidence into the future?
Well, I think the work that we do in Invest Melbourne, the work that my colleagues in economic development and international do, the work that our Experience Melbourne in bringing the huge events and delivering huge events to the city is a lot of that. The work that I can name almost every branch in the city, but the work that our waste and recycling teams are doing to make sure the city is as clean as possible. They all play a part, and they're all really important. So it's very much a team effort, a Team Melbourne approach that we take. If we're all pulling in the right direction, we're all pulling in the same direction, then people have that confidence. It's the media often there's the media stories are negative. I get that. You can argue the toss on it, but projecting confidence. Projecting that we're my team support 8. There's more businesses that open without our support. We'd like all those to come and get our support, because we would mean they open quicker. But that's 8 a month.
Yeah.
We're working on some, as I said, working on some really big projects with Invest Victoria that will bring thousands of jobs to the city. So they're good stories. We need to tell those positive stories more often.
How many businesses does your department deal with?
At the moment, we've got a pipeline of about 150 businesses that we're dealing with on a daily basis. They're new businesses coming into the city. In addition to that, we do a huge amount of face-to-face engagement with businesses. So the business concierge team are out 2 days a week, literally walking up and down the streets of Melbourne, going into businesses and seeing how they're going. Is there anything we can do to support you?
Wow.
So in terms of working with businesses, it's thousands, but supporting new businesses into the city, it's about 150. We're hoping that pipeline will grow, particularly in the domestic reinvestment, so a business in Sydney that wants to open up a Melbourne headquarters, or ideally foreign direct investment, so attracting large businesses from overseas into the city.
So you promote the City of Melbourne overseas?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, we've just got our own LinkedIn account, which I'm not sure whether you've seen. You should subscribe. Everyone should subscribe to it. So we're promoting our services through that. That's only been literally, it's a bit of an exclusive element. It's only been around for about a week. We want to work a lot closer again with our colleagues in the Victorian government. They've got something like 23 offices around the globe. So linking in with them and supporting them and having them as our advocates alongside Invest Victoria will be really important. I think they're sort of the main things, but just continually telling that story that the city is a great place to start a business. We're here to support you start that business. Come and talk to us.